Welcome to Krista's Spiritual Talks. Today we have Teresa Berry. Um, I've been in the spiritual community for about 20 years, and I don't very often find somebody who has some of the talents that you have. Akashic record reading, direct channeling, intuitive coach, ruins caster. Um, so that's exciting. My hope from these videos is that people, I think there's going to be more and more people looking for healing. And of course, it's a very personal journey. So the more they get to know
Mhm.
somebody, they can see if it's a good fit.
Yes.
But I'm excited after 20 years of being in this field, just to learn more, about some of these.
Well, it is all about learning. I mean, there is so many different modalities and tools, and I'm finding, and I'm sure you're finding this as well, Krista, is that a lot of people, as their frequencies increase, and we're moving more towards an ascension
Mhm.
phase in our development as spirits, that they're modifying things, they're joining things together, and they're almost picking and choosing and finding and developing tools and modalities that fit their frequency and fit the clients slash patients, if you will, that are coming to seek their help. So I think it's a really exciting time as we're starting to open up,
Yeah.
truly. So,
And what I like about, because I was reading through your bio, and everybody that's on my channel is they're all trying to empower the other person. So you're somebody that you can come to help them along their path more as a guide.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that is absolutely true. If I can jump in, um, I mean, my background is 40 years as a nurse specialist, and educator, and manager. So I come from a place of service.
mhm.
And when I retired from nursing, I hate that word, but when I finished with my nursing career and moved into a more spiritual path,
Mhm.
it's it was easy to move back into the idea of service. And I think that's what we're all here for. I'm sure you have clients who ask you, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? I think it's twofold. One, to experience, and
Mhm.
two, to be of service and help others experience. I think that's basically what it is.
And it's not always easy, especially if we're making money from a different career, that type of thing. But
Mhm.
I don't know, from my own experience, it's those things that light me up. And that might change as I go through my life.
Yeah.
And it usually does a little bit, but so that's interesting. Um, so if somebody didn't know you very well, and they might go, what's Akashic Records reading? What's direct channeling? Can you give me an idea of what type of people come to you or how you help them, or if it's a broad spectrum or
It is a broad spectrum. But what I say to people who have not worked with me in the past, and I do believe it's two spirits working together. I
Mhm.
always tell people this is a conversation, and I'm here to help you with your conversation to spirit. So if someone is not used to working with an intuitive, it's their first time, or they're feeling a bit exposed or fragile about it, I will always suggest using a tool such as Norse runes or oracle cards versus something that is more direct, like channeling or Akashic records.
Mhm.
Because then they can see with their very own eyes what their intuition is guiding them, because they've chosen the cards, they've chosen the runes.
Mhm.
It's them and me working with them. And I think it helps empower people. It helps comfort people. I'm sorry, my cats and my dog, they
Okay.
just love energy. And so that's what I offer to people who are not familiar with it. If somebody is familiar, I will talk to them about using direct channeling, which is where I will go in and I will talk to their spirit that is incarnated with them, their guides that are always with them, or their higher self or everyone.
Hmm.
And I will have my guides with them. So it's more direct conversation. Akashic records are very specific. That's where you're looking, at least my perception of them and what my training led me to um, think about, is that it's if you're looking for a reason why you're doing what you're doing,
Hmm.
and you can't figure out why do I keep this pattern going, then
Hmm.
Akashic Records, which of course are going in and looking at the patterns that float through our lives. I always equate it to our personal libraries. We have our own librarians. We have our own records, and that with permission and a very specific prayer, I follow Linda Howe, then it is opening to that library and finding, why are you still smoking? Why are you still having partners that are not helpful? It's that sort of thing. So
So
it's with a great deal of respect. I've gotta warn you that Akashic records are um, a very private thing, very private.
could
Sorry.
it be like what the soul wanted to learn before it came? Like that type of thing?
Yes, it could be something that it contracted to either figure out, close, rebalance,
Mm.
offer help to another. It's something that's very deliberate in their lives. But and you can see that with people who get locked into addictions, this sort of thing. Sometimes they spiral and they can't get out of it, right? And so by looking at an Akashic record and saying, oh, in this life you experienced such and such,
Hmm.
and that's come back for you to clear or close or heal, then they kind of go, oh, okay. So now I understand why I'm experiencing such a thing, and I can look for the appropriate help. Now, having been a clinician for many years, I will always suggest someone seek appropriate counseling if that's what their health needs. I
Hmm.
won't just stick with intuitive work.
Well, I think it's really helpful too if somebody has fears that don't make any sense, because it could be way deeper than even this lifetime. And you could, yeah, so that could be really helpful. Um, how long have you been doing this? I'm going to ask two questions at once, but did you always have this gift or did it come on later in life? I guess.
I always had something going on, and it does run through my family. I come from an Irish background, Roman Catholic,
Hmm.
and I knew my grandfather on my mother's side was a card reader, but he kept it hidden because, of course, it was not the church is still not comfortable with that sort of thing.
Right.
Um, so I dabbled in things as a very young child. I could move time back and forth. I
Oh.
would make somebody repeat something and then go backwards and forward, and I would play that way. But when I got older, I realized that that was really scary. Life became more complicated, and so I closed it down.
Mhm.
When my daughter was about 10 and she started seeing people in the basement and there people in her room and that sort of stuff, I kind of went, oh, I guess I better open this up again. So it's been about 20 years. She's now 30. So,
Well, it's nice too. I think the next generation, it is less stigmatized for people that are
yes.
younger.
Yeah.
So, um, less chance of shutting it down. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Or
truly hope so. I work with a fair number of children,
Mhm.
and always with their parents present so that there is continuous consent and comfort with what we're doing. But if a child is struggling, like mine was, and I didn't have anyone to turn to,
Mhm.
so I do want to help people so that they don't have to go through what my daughter and I went through.
Right. So each person gets has a passion or gets lit up or whatever the correct word is for that. What would you say is your most fun way to work with somebody? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
That
yeah,
kind
I
of
definitely do. It was quite understandable, Chris. It was. Um, I have two. paths. I love working with animals. Obviously, if you looked at my lap, I've got three of them on me right now.
Mhm.
I love working, and that was the first training I did. I did get some training in Reiki. And then I went into animal communication and did 3 years of training for that.
Mhm.
And so I love working with animals. I just love it. They are so pure and so direct. And they're a lot of fun. They've got a great sense of humor, a lot of them.
Mhm.
I do love working with people. I love um, helping people empower themselves and reopen themselves.
Mhm.
You know, you and I both know how shut down everyone can be
Mhm.
on conditionings from culture, religion,
Mhm.
social conditioning, whatever. But for someone to reopen that side of themselves, it's a gift to participate in their path. It really is.
Well,
Many of my clients are now intuitives themselves, working either professionally, semi professionally, or just for their own family's care and health.
mhm. Well, we're currently seeing a lot of changes, and I think it is an opportunity for people to expand and get to know themselves more authentically. So
Mhm.
that's one of the reasons I'm doing this, because it is a personal experience, personal growth. And I think the more you relate to somebody or get to know them, otherwise, if somebody offers something like this and you don't know that person, it's kind of a hard step, to
Mhm.
this is more comfortable if you can get an idea of what they do, that type of thing.
Yes, because it is an act of trust and faith
Hmm.
when you find someone you think you're comfortable with.
Hmm.
And that trust and faith we have to honor as practitioners, as professionals, and we have to respect it.
And trusting your own instinct, is this the right person for me? And
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So, how long have you been doing this?
I retired from nursing in 2017.
Okay.
So, in order to protect my nursing practice, I did not do anything professionally
Mhm.
before that. And so, once I retired and left the profession, I sort of threw out my shingle, so to speak. So,
Now,
2017.
do you meet with most of your people in person or on Zoom, or do you have events that you do, or?
I do go to and have worked at some large fairs,
Mhm.
um, but for my private practice, most readings, like hour-long readings, they are by Zoom. And that of course grew for a lot of us from COVID.
Right, right.
And I think a lot of people are much more comfortable with it. Some people who aren't, I just remind them, well, if you believe that I can talk to your grandmother and your grandmother's past, her energy's out there if we're in the same room together or if we're not in the same room together. Energy doesn't care.
Mhm.
Some people do prefer in person, so I will do that on occasion. I'll book a bunch of in persons as long as they're in the same area. I do private shows, private parties if you want to do there, are private open houses for a lot of Reiki masters who are gifting their clients and students
Mhm.
with readings. Um, for animals, for house clearings, business clearings, that sort of thing, I like to be on site and
Mhm.
really get a good feel for the earth energies.
Right. Well, you've got a wide array of gifts. Not, I don't meet too many that have that many. Um, Ruins Caster, a lot of people probably aren't familiar with, can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody knows about tarot cards, right? And that embedded in each image and each tarot card is intentions and information and directions for their intuition in their lives. Runes are exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the letters of the Norse alphabet, the ancient alphabet is called the Atir.
Mm-hmm.
And each letter is like the tarot cards. It has information for
Mm-hmm.
that person. We're called casters because originally the first wise people, wise women, wise men who were leading this divination. They would throw sticks up in the air, and then the sticks would land, and they would create different shapes as they landed, and they would read the sticks. So that was casting.
Mm.
Now, I don't cast anymore because I do a lot by Zoom. And if I'm casting stuff, then the runes are going to fall all over the place and I have to go pick them up.
Plus, you
So pardon?
you've got animals sitting on you.
I've got animals sitting on me. And so what I do with my clients is I allow them to choose the runes that we're going to work with and with their intention. And I feel it's really, really important. If I'm going to hammer anything in, if you're going to meet with an intuitive, have an intention, have a plan for your time with spirit. So my clients have an intention. They use their human voices to speak that intention because there's a specific energy in our voices, and we go from there. So it's very gentle, it's very earth-based, but it has a strong connection to spirit.
I love it.
I
Yeah,
do too.
I think a lot more people are becoming aware of vibration because science and
Mhm.
spirituality is coming together and how
Mhm.
that really creates our how we see the world. So,
Yes,
um,
definitely.
I think this work that you're doing is really important. It's a way of more directly fight, just becoming more authentic without the fears, letting go of indoctrinations, all these different things. Counseling's wonderful. I just think the more that we have different options where people can
Mhm.
pick, it's another form of self-empowerment,
Oh,
right? You know,
yeah, I truly believe that, and as you say, science and spirit are coming together, and I think that there is a place for both, and I hope that, and I do see some uh, healthcare practitioners
mhm,
leaning towards spirit as well, and are gently incorporating that in their practice. So I have to offer the same so that if someone needs more of a clinical aspect, then
mhm,
I will encourage them. Just like if I see something in a body scan, if someone's asked me for a medical scan,
mhm.
I'm not going to diagnose. I am not going to frighten someone, but I'm going to say, I want you to go take a look
Right.
and talk to your nurse practitioner, your medical practitioner
Mhm.
about getting an x-ray or something.
It all has value. Yeah.
It all has value.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to go to a doctor, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
it's
So,
good that it's all out there.
mhm.
I kind of just touched on some of the basics. You know you, so somebody that doesn't know you, is there something else that you would like to talk about or?
Um, see, um, I am told by my clients and my dear friends that I have a very good sense of humor. And so I like to look at things within that joy.
Hmm.
And very often, and this came actually from my nursing practice. I used to run a menopause clinic, and uh, many women would say, I don't remember the last time I felt joy.
Hmm.
And so in my intuitive practice, that's something that I really want people to reopen because that is our natural state of being. Joy is such a high frequency. When we enjoy something, we're in bliss.
Hmm.
And whether it is, a piece of chocolate or watching the sky at sunset or watching all the snow melt this week, yes, then it is a profound feeling. And so I very often, if I'm being told by spirit, I will work that in to the session that I'm working in so that we can open that up and get someone feeling that, because that's a great way to link into their intuition.
Hmm.
Imagine if you've lost your joy, how are you going to link into your spirit?
Hmm.
So that's something I work on, and I very often start with a wee bit of humor. I also use very specific nursing terms that some people may call swear words, And and again, to get people to laugh and relax a little. This
Right,
is not scary. We're not here to scare people.
right. It doesn't have to
And
be the big heavy. Yeah.
it doesn't. And if there is something heavy, I will approach it the
Mhm.
same way I would have as a nurse,
Yeah.
very gently and trying to help them through it. If
Hmm.
I see a death or something coming, I will very gently approach.
Hmm.
But I do want them to relax.
Yeah.
I'm here with a heavy hand.
Yeah. It's not the destination, it's the journey. Yeah.
It is. It is. I
Exactly.
want them to take that journey again. They don't need to come and see me again. I'm not looking for that, but I want them to have that journey into their intuitive lives, whether it is with me, with you, or another practitioner.
Hmm.
There's enough of us, right?
Right.
So I want them to carry on, and they won't do that if they get frightened.
Yeah. Well, I think this is beautiful work that you're doing. So thank you for
Thank you.
being out there doing it. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, would they go to teresabintuitive.com or how do they generally? Okay.
That's generally the way I suggest it.
Hmm.
And then they send an email. My webpage sends an email. My life is really topsy-turvy. I'm a new grandma. So, I'm busy changing diapers. And so I prefer clients to send that email from my webpage, and then we book it in based on what they need to have. And sometimes it requires a conversation. I don't know what I need. And then we have a little conversation about that before deciding how we want to book that time. Um, House clearings, that sort of stuff, whether they're done virtually or on the ground, they're 2 hours, but most of the readings are an hour.
Hmm.
Mentoring is a bit longer, it's a bit more involved, but for your basic runes, cards, channeling, all of that sort of stuff, it's about an hour of the person's time.
Right. Well, that's pretty in depth. You can go through a lot in an hour,
You can, yeah,
especially
you
when you
can.
get right to the point. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And well, very often if we get to a point early, and I'm sure you found this in your own practice, then that opens up to the other, oh, by the way, I wanted to ask about, oh,
Mhm.
by the way.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
that, spirit provides the time quite, quite readily, so
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you being willing to come on with this
thank
interview. Maybe
you.
in the future we can do this again. So,
I'd be
uh,
happy to.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Krista, and have a great day.
Thanks.